Hello everyone again, I hope everyone's well. Today in this video, I just wanted to do a video on my biggest tip for getting the most out of the Dreaming Spanish platform. I know I've kind of rambled on about this platform so much now, but this is probably the main platform that's helped me get to where I'm at with my Spanish. Obviously, it's not perfect. My Spanish isn't perfect. There's a lot more people than me who speak it a lot better as their second or third language. But I've been quite happy with the progress I've made, as I said before. So I hope a few people can take a takeaway from this video and it can help them maximize the use of the platform as much as possible. Because I do think it's really good for anyone learning Spanish, especially from a really basic level. I think it's a great platform. So let's get into my biggest tip for the platform. So the biggest tip for using the Dreaming Spanish platform or any comprehensible input method for any language, I think is definitely discipline. It's to being able to do a certain amount of time every single day on 99.9% of days, unless something major comes up where you're not able to do it for whatever reason. But I think 99.9% of days pretty much you have to dedicate a bit of time to the language. And once you build that habit, it does get a lot easier. So I think it doesn't really matter how much, well, it obviously matters how much you do each day, but I think it's important to pick a minimum time for each day that you'll definitely be able to do. In saying that though, you do kind of have to be realistic. So if you only want to do 15 to 30 minutes per day, which, is completely fair enough. We've all got different things going on in our lives. So there's no pressure to do any more than that if you don't want to. But you do have to be realistic that you may not be able to hold a proper conversation with a native until maybe 5 to 7 years, since it takes, I think Pablo says it takes about 1,500 hours to get conversationally fluent. So, that might be 5 to 7 years. So, and if you're fine with that and you're happy to take that time and do it slowly, for sure, that's absolutely fine. But I think for me and a lot of you guys watching this, we're probably a bit more stubborn than that. I personally probably couldn't wait 7 years to be able to do, as the videos I've shown before, my italki lessons. I think I wouldn't have the patience to sit through that. So I've always tried to do a minimum of 1 hour. A lot of the times this has turned into 2-3 hours per day, but I always make sure to do a minimum of 1 hour. So that's my biggest tip for the platform. I'm going to go into some other points now on just how to maintain discipline when learning a language through comprehensible input and the things that have worked for me. As I said, obviously I'm not perfect, but these are just some tips that have helped me to stay disciplined. So the first point I've got written down here is that you do have to be a bit relentless, I reckon, with hitting your daily goal. And this is going to require some sacrifices. So whether that's waking up early before work or whatever you have on, setting your alarm that extra hour early to get up and do your hour of input or however much you're doing. It might mean rocking up late to the odd event that you have with friends or family. Obviously, that's not ideal, and I always tried to avoid that as much as possible. But I really did prioritize me getting my 1 hour of input in each day. And as I said, sometimes that meant, I had to shoot a text off saying I'm going to be half an hour late for whatever thing I had on or whatever event I had on. Just on this point, sometimes my friends would be like, oh, why don't you just do the hour tomorrow on your next session? Which I guess on principle that kind of makes sense. Just make up an hour the next day. But for me, at least, I really liked the idea of doing something every single day, no matter what. That was really important for me. And yeah, as I said, in saying that, it would make sense just do an extra hour the next day. But I never really wanted to get into that mindset. I just wanted to be like, this is what I do every single day. So I tried my best to stick with that. Another one I've got here is, it might mean if you're on a trip away, you might have some late nights by yourself, staying up watching videos and getting that input in. These can be quite tricky. There's been so many times I think I've just been in bed trying to get my hour in. Feels like these are the ones where it just feels like a drain. You like, I don't even know how much you're really getting out of it, but I think it was important for me to just build the habit, even though I was tired and, you know, about, I was probably half asleep while I was watching these videos, but it really was important to me to just continue the habit and stay on that streak. And obviously this all depends how social you are and what you have on, whether you have a really rigorous job that requires a lot of hours, it's going to be harder to meet this 1 hour per day or whatever time you have set. But in my experience, I sort of had times where I would only be getting in an hour because I was quite busy. So I might wake up an hour early before work, as I said, and smash out the hour in the morning and then just get on with my day. That really helped me when I was busy with work or university. And then I had other periods, such as over holiday times when I wasn't away but just at home, or I'm not sure, maybe when I just, uni breaks, or I just didn't have much on where I could really dedicate sometimes 2 or 3 hours probably to it. So, I think it depends on what time of year it is and your lifestyle. Everyone's got different things on. So, but I think it's really important to prioritize and find a time in each day that works well. So the next sort of segment I want to touch on is just on holiday time. So if you're going away on holiday sometime soon, I think it's really important to make a plan for the trip and how you're going to still get your input in. For me, I always just reduced it by half an hour, the minimum time. So instead of a minimum of an hour, I just went minimum half an hour. And I found this pretty fine. This worked pretty fine, to be honest. I'm always a bit of an early riser, so I'd usually just wake up in the morning and grab my phone in my bed and start watching for half an hour, and then I can kind of just forget about it for the rest of the day and enjoy the trip with my friends or my family. So that's always worked well for me, but I think the main thing is that you just keep doing something every day. Obviously, your holidays are only going to last for so long, so don't get too worked up if you can't hit your normal amount every day. That's not a big deal. If you're trying to learn a language properly, it's going to take years and years. So a week here where you've done, or a week there where you've done a few hours less than what you normally would accumulative in the whole week, I don't think that's a big deal. But I do think it's important to just try doing something every day. It just kind of keeps your brain ticking over and you still kind of feel involved with the language to some degree. So that's what worked for me, but find a time frame that works well with you and how much you've got on with your trip. Just try to do something each day. I think is important. So the last point I have here is just to make it part of your identity a bit. I know this is quite a popular catchphrase with people into fitness, how they say you've got to make it a part of your identity of who you are. This is who I am. I work out. And people use it for other examples as well, obviously. But I think it's really useful in language learning as well. If you try to convince yourself that I am a language learner, this is what I do every single day, I think it will help create that habit of doing it every day. If you genuinely believe this is what you do and this is who you are, I think as I said, it makes the habit a lot easier. So just try to tell yourself that. Obviously, it'll take some time for that to settle in, but I think it's a great thing to do mentally to really get you in the zone and to just make sure you're doing it every single day. It makes it feel like a bit less of a chore and just kind of something that you have to do every day, no matter what. And sorry, there was one more little thing I forgot to mention. If you do ever miss a day for whatever reason, obviously life can get in the way. Most of us probably have really busy lives with a lot of things on with friends, family, work, or other hobbies. Don't beat yourself up over it too much. Obviously, even I've had a few days where I've missed, and I can't really remember the days, but I've definitely missed a few for whatever reasons. Just get back on track the next day. Just make sure these days are obviously kept to a minimum and they're for a good reason, that something seriously got in the way of you being able to do it that day. Because obviously one day in the scheme of things, it's not going to make a difference at all because you'll be doing this for years. But obviously try not to make it happen, but it's completely understandable that life gets in the way. We've all got other things going on in life. So don't beat yourself up over it too much. That's my last little point. But yeah, thanks for listening. I hope this, I guess it's kind of a tip on discipline and how to make the Dreaming Spanish platform work best for you, or any other comprehensible input platform or YouTube channels you're watching, or podcasts with any language. So yeah, this can be applied to any language, obviously. But I hope this helped a few people. Cheers.